And welcome to Armchair Quarterback. Hard to believe we are in week 9. And before we talk about last week's game, a little bit of a preview. Are we going to call this Super Bowl 48 and a half? Super Bowl 49 preview? The War of the Titans. And we should welcome back to our Armchair Quarterback huddle Mr. Chris Delaney.
Hey,
Chris, welcome back,
Good to
brother.
see everybody.
It's
Good to
always a
see.
pleasure, man.
Absolutely.
You know,
Love it.
it's,
High five,
Billy
high
in the
five
house.
across the room, brother.
High five.
Good to see you.
Good to see you. Yeah.
And Patriots will be taking on Denver Broncos, of course. Peyton versus Brady.
Peyton who?
Peyton who? I'm going to call you Brother Chuck. Your
Peyton's
favorite player.
Peyton.
But Patriots.
Really, I'm surprised you didn't have Chuck on. Peyton.
Be a big week. He gets too nervous like around these
I
big
tell you
games.
what, though, like Carter break. I don't know how it works out the scheduling gods, but this is back-to-back years that Denver comes to
Yeah.
Foxborough. You know,
Right.
so
And really what's on the table in this game is you'd have to say home field advantage in the championship game. Getting way ahead of ourselves. Colts may have something to say about it.
It's a
but
big one. It's a big one, as they say.
It's a big one,
Yeah.
obviously. But
That's a for sure.
I think for the Patriots, the measuring stick. I mean, they've beaten the teams under 500, and they've lost to the teams above 500. This is a good team. This should give us a good idea where they're heading. I think the next.
no question. And
8
if you
weeks.
look at the Broncos only lost this year, lost in Seattle in a game that they played tough. I mean, they went right down to the wire. They got the 2-point conversion late in that game, and a team that could be undefeated, but. It's a team that really, they've given Peyton Manning all the weapons, maybe all the weapons that Tom Brady doesn't have.
well, all the weapons, but they also shored up their defense as well.
They did, for
you
sure.
know? So, you know, you got a decent secondary, and you got an interior line, edge rushers there that are just have 20 between them, 23 sacks. I
And
don't
Von
know.
Miller's back.
Yeah,
who's
you
a-
know,
just
so-
has a motor
Miller,
that won't
DeMarcus
stop.
Ware, bringing in
Talib was huge.
Yep.
As long as he's staying healthy, it's helped a lot.
So,
And the safety, I forget his name.
so
Hard to say they're not the best team in football right now.
Right. And then you look at the Broncos, and the Broncos have played pretty much the brass of the league. Their schedule gets much easier after this week for them. Their bye week was, I think, week 4
Yeah.
going back. But
the Pats still have a couple of tough games on the schedule. You know, they got Detroit and they have
Green Bay.
Green Bay
Green
in
Bay
Green,
in
in
Green
Green Bay.
San
So-
Diego in San Diego, back-to-back weeks.
Tough run of games.
So you know,
It was a nice win last week.
Yeah.
Convincing.
it was a confidence
Convincing
builder for
win.
sure.
It was, and the Patriots playing much better, and they get a bye week after this week before they go out to play the Colts. So a nice little run here for the Patriots. But anyway, let's take a look at the highlights this past week: the Bears and the
W's.
Patriots. And Rich, I think to steal one of your lines, once they're in Jay Cutler's kitchen,
Oh,
all,
I tell you.
all bets are off because
Wow.
this Bears team folded like a tent. I mean,
Yeah,
it was, you could just see the body English. They were just. I mean,
I
right from the beginning.
question whether Cutler really even wants to play. You know,
He's got the sour puss look
He
on his
always,
face all
all-
the
yeah.
time.
that's awesome.
What
a
a
lot
great
of offensive weapons.
Yeah, but what a great stand! They had the great stand on the goal line.
They
Now,
did.
they do have some talent up front, but I think the Patriots just had they exposed their linebackers. Just too many weapons, and Gronkowski was just unstoppable.
Yeah,
he was
that's the word.
vintage Gronk.
Unstoppable.
Well, and he'll be a matchup nightmare this week too. You know, so
He's a
think-
match nightmare every week.
And it opens up LaFell, who I think now Brady's got the chemistry. You can see it, that deep
It's been growing every
cut
week.
route. And I just wonder, does that then open up even more for Edelman? And then you got Vereen. So the weapons now are coming to the forefront. I think it bodes well for the Patriots.
Where was Vereen? Was he? He was questionable because he was sick. We don't know what his illness
some
was.
type of
Maybe he had
illness,
but that seemed like he came out for the first play and then he disappeared for a quarter.
Brandon Bolden. I mean, I think he's going to be a big factor. I think in this game.
Well, I think defensively too, and I'm looking at Browner. I
Yeah.
think he's starting to, a couple games now. He's physical. He's big. Everyone says you've got to throw off Peyton's timing. You can't get to him, but if you can bump and run those receivers, throw his timing off.
Yep.
That's gonna
Right, and
take
now do you
evidence.
line up him against a guy, tight end Julius Thomas?
Yeah.
well, you're gonna have to do. You know, you can man up with both him and Revis. You know,
I'd give Browner some help over the top of the safety.
yeah. So
But they got so many weapons. Look at Emmanuel Sanders.
I know
last
they.
week.
I know they do.
You
But
leave
you know
one
what?
of those guys
But
open.
okay, you can't cover them all.
They're
I
going to
got it.
exploit the guy that has the weakest matchup.
Deswell could get back into the rhythm of that offense. He's kind of been not
He's been the odd man out, really.
Yeah.
You know, he hasn't
kind
really.
of maybe the injury, the concussion. He's been maybe utilized.
I don't know. I think Sanders has kind of stepped up ahead of him, like in the pecking order.
No, he's a
really.
tough matchup for the Patriots, I
Yeah.
think. And I think the Patriots, they're going to have to drop 7. And they've done that in the past. Force the Broncos to run the football.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
So
force
this
them.
is where Ronnie Hillman comes in, and can they stop him?
Who's banged up, by the way.
Is he?
Yeah,
Well,
shoulder.
and you didn't have Wilfork last year, right? Yeah, I
in
don't.
the championship game, right?
Was
Well,
it-
actually, both games. 'cause
Both
he was,
games,
he was
I don't
knocked
think.
out in
And
the Atlanta game,
I
yeah.
want to say
Gronkowski?
Mayo was out too. Your Gronk was good in the first game.
in
He
the first
wasn't
game.
there in the championship game, but you know. So I
And
don't
also,
know.
Talib knocked out of that championship game early.
Yeah,
Right.
it should
That
be. It
controversial
should.
play.
You know what? It should be. It's the game of the week for sure.
No,
Oh, it's a
question.
chess
You know,
match. It's
yeah,
Belichick, I think,
so-
at his best defensively. We'll see. He should come up with a good game plan.
So is Monty Ball back, or is
He's still a couple
He's
weeks
still
away.
getting
and,
paid.
and so is Hillman?
Hillman's
out?
he's not out, but he
He's
had
got a
sore shoulder. He'll play.
Yeah, they got a couple
He's
of
gonna
CJ
play.
Anderson. They got another kid. Is it Thompson? That's pretty good.
But it's not.
Right,
It's
the
no
fullback.
Marino, who I think they had last year, right?
Yeah, no Sean
no,
Moreno.
as long as
Yeah.
they got Peyton Manning, it doesn't really matter who's behind him.
Look at this. Look at Gronk. Look at Gronk.
Gronk, he was.
That was
One
unbelievable.
stumbling and bumbling.
He was just.
That was a classic run on that play. It was just
Yeah.
get out of his way, and the Patriots rolled.
He was not to
Bears.
be
I tell you what, did you
51-23.
notice though too that Brady looks to be a little bit more mobile, or is looking to get out of the pocket a little bit if he has to, and he just seems to be playing with a little bit more
the chip.
energy.
And it started.
you know,
It started in that Bengals game. That
I
first
really,
drive
yeah,
was kind of
yeah.
set the tone
So,
for the rest of the
and
night.
I'll be honest with you. So they're home underdogs, right? You gotta believe that the Pats are just gonna. They like that stuff. They like to, you know what?
a little
Nobody
motivation.
believes in us, and
Right.
you know, and so hopefully they come out with that same that anger that in that first Cincinnati drive that you saw. Like, you know
It's
what?
kind of set the tone.
I think the loss to Kansas City was the best thing that could have happened to this team.
Absolutely.
It
Yeah.
really
Humiliated on
national TV.
Yeah.
You saw the result the next week, right? Cincinnati.
And then that
It's just
whole
been
week,
rolling.
we talked about this on the show, Chris. That I've never seen such a Brady bashing. Is
my
he
God,
old? Is he
turn-
over the hill? And
He's going to get traded.
Yeah,
Get
yeah.
traded him.
Oh,
to
will he
Houston.
finish-
will he even
Yeah.
finish his career?
This will
here?
be
And
the
on
last
and
year,
on
and oh yeah.
Two
so-
first-round draft picks, right?
So and that was over as soon as it began.
We're
It was
laughing
in one
now,
week.
but
No,
you
I know.
it's funny how quickly people will turn on, especially a guy like that. That's you
Yeah.
know, he's a legend, you know, and it's like all of a sudden he has a couple of bad games, but he's kind of silenced his critics.
No, he is.
Yeah.
But
the
I
last
don't.
couple of weeks.
You know, they're not as bad as they played against Kansas City. You know, I question whether or not they're as good as last week.
Yeah.
You know, but I think they're trending upward. And I
Yeah.
think that's because of Gronkowski, chemistry with LaFell, get the running back situation. I like the kid Gray. He's a north and
Yeah, he
south
runs
runner,
tough.
puts
Yeah.
his foot in the ground and gets downhill. So I think their offense is going to
Where
start
has
clicking.
Bolden been? I mean, weren't you surprised
Special
that they went with
teams.
Gray a little more than Bolden?
Yeah, I mean, you're seeing him more on special teams and some different other.
But Bolden likes to dance. He doesn't. Gray puts his foot in the ground. He's downhill. He's
yeah.
a big back.
He's been impressive.
Yeah, that's why what's Maroney? Maroney was like left and right. And he
he's
one
the
of
best.
the worst technique
Yeah.
runners ever.
Then he
That's what
fumbled.
Ben
then he
Jarvis
fumbled.
Green Ellis comes in and takes that. So it's
right.
just.
Geez, I remember going down to the training camp a long time ago with Happy Jack Mueller. Drove down and I was like, wow, there's the future of the Patriots. What was his name? Leonard Russell?
Leonard Russell.
Yeah.
He was a big guy. But another guy like
Bust his
Maroney
knee.
Yeah.
never really,
Exactly.
There was another guy,
Yeah.
Robert.
never really
was it-
got there.
Oh, who blew his
Blew-
knee
blew
out.
his-
Blew his knee
in
out.
the
That's
sand
right.
in the
Yeah.
in
Yeah,
the touch
yeah,
Pro
yeah.
Bowl league.
Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
that's, I mean, that's a freak accident.
Yeah,
It was
well.
Robert Edwards.
Robert
Edwards, that's right.
Right.
So-
Just,
But anyway, the Patriots, they've kind of had the running back by committee. It's kind of always been that way. Even go back to the Corey Dillon days and that type of that era. But
I still think
just
they
sounds
want
fun.
Vereen. I think Vereen was just not 100% last week. And they didn't need him
No,
to
they
be
didn't
100%.
need him. I
Once
agree.
They just got out. It made it look so easy. And then it was like, okay.
See, you really need Vereen as another set of hands.
Yeah, no,
you
he's
know?
a great.
He's
How
your
about the catch
Marshall
he made 2
Faulk.
weeks
Yeah,
ago?
Oh, my
he
God.
is,
He could be your
yeah.
safety valve.
So-
Safety
Yeah.
valve. He
So-
gets the ball,
blitz.
run
Dish it off.
third and long. Screens.
Yep.
He's the main guy, though. I mean, as far as backs.
One of these things that's always critical to the Patriots is the third down. Can the defense get off the field? And there's always like the Peyton Manning, like always just he always can find that extra guy.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's just the broadcast, but I was watching the Thursday night game at San Diego. They seem to just crank up the audio when Peyton's calling the shots. This week it was like, he did a couple of Elways.
Oh yeah.
did
in
he?
Omaha.
Yeah.
And like it's all his cadence and
Omaha,
calls.
every
And-
time.
Oh yeah. They, you know what? They,
You know what I'm
it's theater.
fearful.
It's
I'm,
theater,
I'm
definitely.
fearful for the not necessarily the pass interference, but the defensive holding
Yeah.
on third down, especially with Peyton Manning. Watch it. That's going to play, I think, a key factor in this game at some point because they've been calling it every single week, and it's
Right.
getting to a point where it gets frustrating as a viewer. Let them play.
Yeah, and during the preseason, they said they were going to throw more flags and kind of because they want those players to get out and more points, this, that, and the other thing. But it just seems
it's painful.
It's
painful.
disrupting the game.
It's painful to watch, and you know what? I don't know what the number is. I mean, you could probably get the number of how many, but it seems every game, and it's not just it's every series. There's penalties every series of downs
Impeding the progress.
on both sides.
Right.
You know, so
And it just bogs down the game,
Yeah.
the flow of the game.
it
You got to
do.
let them play at some point. But the Broncos last week looked pretty good at home against San Diego. I thought San Diego was going to give them a better game, and they just kind of
they laid down.
they
a
just
lot of injuries.
Yeah,
They're another
you know.
team banged up, running back position
Yeah.
on the line.
Just not in the same league though as Dan.
Well, they lost their two corners, right? So
Right,
I
yeah.
mean, but they moved the ball
Right.
when they
And-
you
yeah,
know,
and they
a
actually
little bit.
played
I
with-
was
they
thinking
played
of
with
you.
their
I have
fourth-
to admit that
fourth-string
Phil
running back
Rivers
at
was
this
having a little
Meltdown?
meltdown.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, I know Rich is watching this thing. I was like, look at he's a jerk. I hate that guy.
Contrast Rivers and Cutler. You know, Rivers
different style of
is
temper tantrum.
just different style. Exactly.
Yeah.
You
They,
know,
they both have the crybaby moments.
crybaby.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
And there is a breaking point for both those guys
Yeah.
where Peyton Manning Peyton Manning saves it for the Super Bowl, and Tom Brady. We just saw that on Monday night.
Tom's
but not-
having
He's
few
been
moments.
better
That's
as
right.
of late, though.
Yeah,
Have you
he's had a
noticed he
few
hasn't
moments.
been berating his
his
teammates?
receivers because they're running the right pattern. You saw that a lot of times, like Reggie Wayne, what are you doing? The arms start going up or whatever. I guess a football first. AM football over in London this week actually turned out to be a good game.
Good second half.
Controversy?
Maybe some controversy. Mike Smith has got to be fired for Atlanta Falcons.
Oh.
There's no way around it. This is the same guy who, like, 4th and 1 on his own 20 in overtime, gave it back to Drew Brees,
Yeah.
and then they lost immediately on the next play. But I go, what are you thinking? I mean, just ridiculously play calling, very conservative, like 2 different halves in this game. I don't know if you saw or have a chance
No,
to see
but,
it.
the Falcons were, we were talking about, playoff contender, but they certainly, they're pretenders. They get another team with a lot of talent on offense.
We talked. The offensive line is
No D.
decimated.
Yeah.
So I mean, they still have the receivers. I mean, they got Roddy White. They got Julio Jones.
But it was a game of two halves. I mean, Detroit
Absolutely.
was sleeping in the first. They came alive in the second. And the ridiculous call, delay. What was it? It was a delay game call,
delay a game.
which benefited Detroit.
Yeah.
Prater misses the
Right.
field goal.
Yeah.
Delay
Now, what if
game.
he-
Oh yeah. Okay, we'll
No.
take it again, and he hits it. Game
But it
over.
could have worked if he made it and they pushed him back 5 and he missed it.
Right.
Yes.
Yes. And another crazy game this week was the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Colts. We all took the Colts last week, by the way.
I know.
Thought the
I
Colts
was
would
like,
thought the Colts would get Colts.
Did you
I
really?
took Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
I did.
Out of gas. And as soon as I saw Roethlisberger come out, they were wearing their Bumblebee Halloween outfits.
Yeah.
I said, "There's Pittsburgh."
Are those
gotta win
ridiculous?
this game.
Really? Really? Come on.
It's Halloween a
It's
week
like
early.
they just got out of jail
Prison
for a
costume.
game.
Yeah, I don't know, man. But
mean,
they
Ben,
put up some numbers.
6
Wow.
touchdowns,
big
time.
522 yards passing.
Wow,
They should wear him every
Antonio
week.
Brown, he's a force. And
Unbelievable.
not a big guy either.
No, I mean, you got to put him as a top 3 receiver, really. I mean, guy's
But
unstoppable.
you know, what, come on. But
Unstoppable.
Indy has been playing
Lights out.
relatively
Right.
well.
And
you know?
Pittsburgh's
Yeah,
been
that- yeah.
And
erratic.
Pittsburgh's been,
Hot and cold.
mediocre at
Yeah.
best.
How'd you figure?
Now, Chris, you probably jumped on that. Just Pittsburgh as a home dog.
Well, I
Maybe
love
another-
it. Whenever Pittsburgh's a dog at home, it's a must-take. And, again, the prior week they played better. Although against Houston, right? They scored 3 touchdowns at the end of the first half, which was miraculous.
Miraculous.
But there was
Monday,
something that happened in that game. And I think it was their defense that started to come alive. And I just said, you know what? I think it's going to be. I didn't expect a blowout like
Yeah,
that, but
yeah.
I thought the defense was going to come to play, and they did.
Yep. And the Seattle Seahawks. They're a shaky team on the road, but there's some other issues there. There's some, is Pete Poodle losing control of the team?
I
Percy
I think they're,
Marshawn Lynch, is he the next guy
he's
out
the
of
next
town?
guy out of town. Yeah, I mean, there's some malcontents
But
there.
how does that happen?
You win the
know?
Super Bowl, you think you'd be on top of the world for
Yeah.
a year. It's like, hey,
Defend
let's
the title.
keep this going. But
Great article in the Wall Street Journal. They got rid of a lot of their depth guys, signed with other teams. So,
Right.
they had a rotation last year where they were stronger in the third and fourth quarter than opposing teams. They were shutting, the offenses down. This year they haven't been able to do that. They just can't they can't stop teams on third down.
the
And
D
you can
hasn't been the
see it.
same, dominating D, home or away,
No.
really.
Not really.
Dallas
Lynch has
went
been
in there.
okay.
I mean, Dallas goes out and beats them, and then Dallas lays an egg against the Redskins this past week.
But they got rid of Harvin. I think Harvin had some friends on the team, whether they were gangsters or whatever. So, and Lynch is one of them. Like, great runner, but he had some comments that were inappropriate to say.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just gotta be quiet and.
Getting high on the Skittles.
I'm sorry. Can I have my check?
Yeah. Thank you.
I mean,
I'm
Seattle,
sorry.
Seattle
Thank you.
lucky
Can
to
I
get
have my
past
check?
Carolina
I'm
this
sorry.
week.
Just thank you.
Anyway.
But again, we assume that they can right the ship, but it has not looked
But
good.
I don't
what?
think so.
If Seattle
I don't
doesn't get
think
home
so.
field advantage,
I think you got to talk about
Ca-
Arizona.
Arizona's been
I think
playing
you got to
really
talk about
good
Arizona.
football.
Last year they
10-6 don't make the playoffs.
10-6
They hold
doesn't
it
make the
together.
playoffs.
I think the most fascinating thing about this team is they lose Carson Palmer for 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
3 weeks.
They hold it together.
Yeah.
Sometimes playing with their third string, fourth string quarterback, I think.
Right.
And
Yeah.
he comes back and they seem to get it going. Philadelphia they played them tough and they had that game.
Yeah.
Arizona comes back and wins it at
Yeah.
home.
So what does that tell you about their defense?
Defense
So-
And they lost a few guys.
and they lost
starters,
a few guys. Yeah,
linebacker,
right at the beginning of the year.
beginning of the
So
Some
yeah.
depth there.
So I you know what, I'd look that whole conference, and even, you say Atlanta, so that division is horrible. They're still only a game behind,
Right.
and which is crazy. You know what? Because Carolina's three wins and you're in first place.
3-4-1.
3-4-1.
New Orleans,
is
3 and
the
4.
same
Yeah,
right
New Orleans
behind
3
them.
and 4 playing
And
for
then
first place.
Big game this
Thursday
weekend.
night.
Yeah, so
I think that's the big win New Orleans against over Green Bay.
Green Bay.
Yeah.
They look terrible.
That opening quarter, I said, here we go. This game's going to go 55. Now, there's no punts in this game, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Which
it was a track meet.
Yeah, so
Was
I mean,
it the whole game there was not a punt?
not one single
Really?
punt.
Yeah.
I think third time in regular season
shootout.
history. But I saw that first couple drives, the Saints defense, I go, here we go again. And the Green Bay defense, not much better.
No.
But they were just back and forth and back and
And
forth.
Green Bay playing back-to-back road games in Miami, barely winning that game the
Yeah.
previous week. So they were out of gas.
They were gassed.
They were gassed.
Yeah. So and then of course playing in New Orleans anytime, especially a primetime game, tough. That's a tough.
And
spot for
they're
them.
like 19-0 in New Orleans and the Peyton. They don't lose straight up, So it wasn't
Yeah, and that was
unexpected.
a very small margin. It might have been a 2.5-point spread, something.
1.5. I think.
1.5.
Yeah, I think it was around 1.5.
And then let's talk about Monday Night Football and Jerry Jones. He just does he bug you? Can you how about this? Can you imagine Bob Kraft going down to talk to Belichick, saying, "Oh yeah, Tom Brady got a bruised back. Take off your headset." Like he'd put the headsets on and say, "See you, Bob. Gotta go." Only in Dallas can this happen.
Yeah, no, he's a buffoon.
I mean,
He's
he
just,
has to be the show.
He's
Jerry's
he's paying for it. He's
Jerry's
paying,
world,
he put
you
us a
know?
lot of money into being
Yeah.
the show.
He
So he
couldn't-
wants to be in the public eye.
He couldn't play the sport, so he bought a team to be the GM.
And then
So he
the
could be
biggest,
a part of
biggest
it.
stadium that there is
That's
on the
it. To
planet.
be a part of it. He wants to be a part of it.
But I tell you what, you give the Redskins credit there. They had a good scheme, defensive scheme to
They
get
did.
get after Romo. And because he was running for his life.
In
Yeah.
the end of the game, they were all out blitz every time.
Yeah,
And
oh,
they
yeah.
would just go,
They
we're bringing it, try
yeah.
to stop it.
Yeah.
Colt McCoy, I mean,
Hometown hero.
Yeah.
In the back
Yeah.
to
hadn't played in 3
Texas.
years.
Yeah,
Gets the big win.
just enough.
Yeah. Now is the pressure? I mean, say RG3 is ready to
Oh,
go.
yeah,
I mean,
you know what? Stop.
Do you want to win, or is it show business? We're paying this guy too much money. I mean, what do you
You know
do?
they're going to put him in there when he's ready.
Colt didn't look that great. He made a lot of mistakes. I mean,
Yeah, but
they
You
got
ride the hot
lucky winning
hand
the game.
with this team?
There's no way. There's no.
You
there's
know
no
what? I don't
They're
care-
going nowhere.
I don't care
That's
who
true.
you put in there, because RG3, I have
No confidence.
none whatsoever. He'll be in, he'll be hurt again.
Yeah, well,
So,
that's what they're going to do. They're going to put him in as soon as he's ready until he.
This
Gets
whole
carried
thing
off the
around
field
spending on a whole lot of money. You got to go back to Chicago. You say paid. You know what? Shame on Chicago. They made the decision to pay Cutler all that money.
Pile of dough.
You know what?
Big
And
money.
now
Superstar dough.
And now what are you going to do? because his own teammates, another loss, and they'll be ready to string him up by a flagpole.
How
out
about
there.
Brandon
And
Marshall? I mean, the guy's a great player.
He's doing his best to keep his mouth
Right, he's
shut.
trying, but he
and
can't.
Keep it
He
together,
can't help
you
it
know,
though, because
so-
he's still like he's
Oh,
my
we're
boy.
like brothers, but
he's
this guy stinks.
he's terrible today, but we lost because of him. But he's my boy. It's like really.
Yeah,
That's a nice
that's-
suit, Jay. Yeah, you're my boy.
Yeah, that's a car wreck.
Yeah.
Speaking of car wrecks, the New York Jets, Rex Ryan.
It's the
I'm never
best.
taking them again. I took them this weekend. I don't know what I was thinking. That was like the worst pick of my life.
At the end of it, I mean, it's
He's gonna get
got to
fired.
be over for second.
He's fired. He's done.
They're talking
He's
Rex
gonna get
is going
fired.
to Atlanta.
The GM needs to leave too.
I already heard
That-
Rex is taking over in Atlanta.
Can't.
It's already
It's
the
defensive
future right there.
coordinator, something, anything. But the Jets are they're done. They're toast. It's,
No quarterback. Geno
Like
Smith
Vic
has
style.
proven he
Don't
cannot
worry,
play
they
in the
get Vic.
NFL.
They get Vic taking over.
Yeah, but
He had, 3 interceptions in the first quarter before he had 3
7
completed
passes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
7
that's
out of 3 for 7.
un-
Three
bad
picks.
day.
awesome.
Where's Eric Decker?
That's awesome.
That's what you can't pick up a
And now
guy
you
who
have
plays with
Percy
Geno
Harvin
Smith as
there
your quarterback.
too.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Who's
you know
next?
What? This week, who they
Send them
playing?
Brandon
They're
Marshall.
playing, if
Who
they don't
they
lose
play-
by 30,
Who are they playing this
Kansas
week?
City in Kansas City,
in
they better
Kansas
lose by
City.
30.
It's a 9.5 point spread.
Watch, they'll win the game or
I'm
something.
telling
Yeah,
you,
all of a
right?
sudden, like, we've saved
Something
Rexy's job.
stupid's gonna happen there, because Vic's gonna start.
He'll run for 3.
And they'll just throw it to Percy Harvin.
Yeah,
and
he'll
Decker,
throw 7 touchdowns. Run for 2. The old Mike Vick.
But he looks like he actually did. He came into a game and he admitted he wasn't prepared.
San Diego game.
Yeah.
He didn't go to watch tape that week.
But yeah, he's at the movies.
Yeah.
He missed the meeting, right? He's at the movies. So
What does that tell you about the head
You didn't
coach?
tell me you were
that
gonna
that
play.
sums it all up
It's
right
that
there.
Totally, the team is totally out of control.
They're just
Yeah.
not engaged.
that was a time change. Time change happens.
It was funny. I think the New York Post or New York, whatever the other paper, they show the 2 quarterbacks, the 1 and 7.
Yeah.
They go the Jets 1 and 7. They show the 2 quarterbacks, both with their uniform numbers 1 and 7. And then
The back page? Yeah,
fire.
the back page.
Yeah, fire Rexy.
Ah, good God.
Yeah, he
They're-
might be the first to go. Has anybody got fired yet this
No.
year?
No.
He could be the first
Him and
to go.
the head coach of Atlanta.
I'd say those two are neck
Well,
and
they
neck.
asked
yeah.
who's the coach of Atlanta? What's his name?
Oh, actually, no. Oakland coach is gone.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh,
that's
that's
right.
right.
Yeah, yeah, right,
Spano
right.
is
Sperano.
Sperano.
Sperano is in
Yeah.
as the interim coach.
Yeah.
Have you seen the owner of the Oakland Raiders, Al Davis's kid?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He looks like he should be in Dumb and Dumber as like a character. He's got the bowl haircut. It like if you go to it, like I heard this on Felder and Maz. If you go to his Wikipedia page, like there's nothing about him. They don't even know what year he was born. It says 59, 58. Question mark.
The apple doesn't fall too far from the tree.
Another team that is just gone.
Yeah, maybe
So-
the worst team of them all right there.
So anyway, a very quick and entertaining half hour.
Unbelievable. It's kind of exciting
Wow.
what Chris Delaney brings to the show.
Yeah.
He brings that extra like off the bench, bang. He's going to hit a couple
You just get
3-pointers.
started.
But
I just
gotta be an hour.
Yeah,
Come
I know.
on, we
Yeah,
gotta
gonna do it
expand.
like-
We
do
gotta
like another
expand.
half
We've got so
hour.
much to talk about.
But anyway, Marty, I'm going to remember this week. Let's take a look at the standings, and Pete not
I lost
running
a
away
little
with
bit.
it.
No, you know,
It's cosmetically better than
I
it
don't
was
sleep
last
till it's in the bank.
What are we at? The halfway point?
Nothing.
Yeah.
It's nothing.
Okay. So
Let's
come
get,
on.
Let me
next
pick
week
all
we
the
could all be
players.
tied.
Early.
You know?
Yeah, it's
Still a
early.
lot
You
of
guys are
games-
1 week away from.
A lot of
Hey,
games for me to
I'm
lose
not.
still. You know?
I love
And
that. We'll talk-
Chris
share
Delaney is
some
our
with him.
guest, and we'll let him
Let Phil lose
fire
a
off
few
his
more.
best 3 for this week.
Best 3. Listen, you got to take any team that's playing the Jets. So I'm taking Kansas City, especially at home. I think Arizona is on a roll. Dallas is, Romo, we don't know. I like the dog, Arizona, going into Jerry Jones Stadium, pulling out a win. And lastly, I'll stick with, I'll take San Francisco at home, coming off the bye.
San
I think
Francisco
that's-
made bye week, and
lot of
St.
points.
St. Louis really laid an egg
They
this
laid an
past
egg.
week. They looked bad. 2 straight road games.
2
too.
straight road games. Yeah. That's my 3.
Right. Pete, you are the leader.
Hey, I'm gonna go heat myself up some gumbo. And
Going back to
go down to the Big Easy.
Nolans, Big
On
Easy.
Thursday night.
Took me a few weeks to recover from my New Orleans trip, but I'm almost
He was
over
almost
it.
stranded there for life.
Yeah, for life. Bourbon Street, I'll still have nightmares for the rest of my life about Bourbon Street.
You won't be going
I'm
back,
haunted
eh?
by demons. Maybe it was the sick. I don't know, but
The
it just
voodoo
wasn't.
dolls down there. Scary.
It was a traumatic experience for me. That I'll never recover from.
French Quarter
totally.
was not nice to
No,
Pete when
no,
he
it
was down there a
was
couple
very
weeks ago.
it was terrifying. But I'm
Well, this
going to go with
Halloween.
New Orleans. I'm going to go with New
New Orleans on Thursday night on the road.
To
at
come
Carolina.
back, yeah. I think they looked good last week. I think I'm going to jump on Richie Brockway's Cleveland Browns. Tampa going nowhere fast. Browns aren't really lighting the world on fire, but they're in the dog pound.
Yeah, I like that pick.
Yeah,
That's a good pick. To Tampa
and,
Bay.
And I pick this team once a year, and they never. I shouldn't speak like this. I should be more positive about Phil McGrady's favorite team because it rhymes with Phil
Yeah.
McGrady.
Pittsburgh.
Philadelphia. I just think
Philly.
Phillies can go down there and beat Houston. They're just that much better. So there you go. Although I like Arizona. I like the Colts. It's hard to go back to the Colts after last week because they definitely
You
took a
only
couple
get the
steps
break.
backwards. I
And
know.
What Eli,
I've got 'em.
what
I've
Eli
got 'em.
Manning shows up this week coming off a bye week.
hard to
They
say.
were a bye week, right?
Yeah, they were.
So Eli at home, Monday Night Football. That's a tough game.
Taking the Giants.
I'm not touching that game at all with a 10-foot pole. But I am going to take my favorite team, the Pittsburgh Steelers. this
Really?
week.
Wow.
A
They showed you something.
pick'em game against Baltimore. I don't know if they kind of ran
Which
out
Ben
of bullets.
Roethlisberger's going to show up this week.
Well, I don't know. And what Baltimore team shows up?
Two
so it's-
Dr. Jekyll Hyde
But
teams.
you know, a pick'em situation, no point spread involved. I like the Steelers, I guess, to pull this out.
They seem to have turned it
other
around.
reason-
Road team. All right,
yeah,
road game.
no other
Back to
reason
back.
that the Steelers are home.
Yeah.
You know, hopefully they got a little more scoring left in them. So I'm going to take the Steelers at home this week. Pete, I like your Philadelphia pick too. I like Philadelphia. They showed me something to stay in that game. Arizona was that was one of the better games this
Yeah,
week.
it was a good
So
game.
I do like I like Philly on the road for a second week in a row at Houston. Houston, I think, is probably ready for a letdown. They hung in it, but I think they're banged up a little bit too.
Yeah.
So I don't know. So I like that. And boy, I got to take the Seahawks. They got to get it going against an Oakland team that is just
It's a
brutal.
big, what is it, 15?
15.
That's a lot of points.
A lot
I
of
don't know,
points.
but that could be the blowout of the week.
Carr's got.
They're going to
you know,
punish someone sooner or later.
They have to get on the same page. Oakland, second straight week on the road, going out to Seattle. Tough spot for them.
Yeah.
Take the Seahawks, give away a ton of points.
Richie,
That's me.
it's you, baby.
You know, if I had circled my picks, Pete, I would have said you were looking at my sheet. You
Yeah,
know?
that's
But-
all right.
All right. So,
Don't let me stop
But
you.
I'm not. I don't care. I'm going to pick against everybody
Pick
else.
who you want to pick.
You know, I like Indianapolis.
Yeah, well,
I don't.
if they hadn't smoked me last week, I'd like them myself.
You know what? I'm gonna stay on them. I don't think they're gonna go back to back.
They're really much better team than the Giants.
You know what? I don't. The Giants don't show you
Not much.
you
Once in
know,
a while.
So, but and then I could never see myself doing this, but I'm gonna take Washington. I'm gonna take Washington
They did look
at
good.
Minnesota.
At Minnesota.
You know.
They looked okay the other day.
They looked okay.
Jim
Minnesota
Haslett had
a
the
big
deep
win, though,
playing-
too,
playing
but
good.
I think I'm going to take Washington, and then I'm going to take Arizona. I like
You've been
Arizona.
on that bandwagon.
I have been,
dog,
and
yes.
you know what?
I like
like
the
that. I
4
like
points
that.
in that game. Too.
I do, and you know what? Back to the point that you don't know what Romo's status is going to be.
Did have him circled there.
And I do think that Washington showed you a little bit of a schematic to get after them. So,
Arizona stops DeMarco Murray, they win that game.
Yeah.
I think it's plain and simple.
yeah.
One little
So,
tidbit.
quick.
Saw Oak Lone Tree last night.
Performing.
He's been he's been assigned Wednesday nights at Jake
Jake and Joe's?
Jake and Joe's.
Perhaps a visit out there at a Wednesday
So
night.
Take the
maybe,
Pats, take the
put
Pats
it
and
in
the
the book
points.
next week.
Pats.
Maybe
Oh, yeah.
we'll,
Pats and the points.
Quick Pats.
I'm deferring. I never. It makes
wanna
me. It
jinx the
makes me
team.
nervous.
7-1, 7-1 at home against.
that's a tough one. I'm thinking it's a
Manning.
push.
Well, I take the Pats. Okay, Marty's saying we've got to wrap it up. Happy Halloween, Chris Delaney. Come
Hey,
back anytime.
thanks for being. Thanks,
Chris.
guys. Awesome.
All right.
Enjoy your
Happy
weekend
Halloween.
football.
Go Pats.
Greatest
Go
game of the
Pats.
year so far coming up.
Coming
Patriots
up.
Broncos. We'll see you. See you later.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching.
Thanks.